Kai Mercer sat alone in his small apartment in New London, staring at the soft glow of the city lights outside his window. It had been 2 years since he left the Galactic Diplomatic Corps and returned to Earth. 2 quiet years, where he tried to live a normal life, something simple, something peaceful. Humanity had just finished recovering from a dangerous conflict with multiple alien civilizations, and people wanted calm. Kai wanted it even more. But deep inside, he still carried memories he could never speak of. Faces, voices, promises, regrets. Especially one regret, one that returned to him every night in dreams. The image of a young alien princess looking up at him with trust in her eyes. Elindra Vael Sari, the girl he left behind. The girl who believed he would return. He never did. He had no choice, he followed orders. Classified orders. Orders that forced him to disappear from her world and cut all communication. Still, the memory stung like a fresh wound. He tried not to think about it. But fate had other plans. Early that morning, every screen on Earth flickered. News channels cut off mid-sentence. Advertisements vanished. Talk shows froze. For a moment, there was total silence. Then a single message appeared on every device, every billboard, every public display across the entire planet. I seek human Kai Mercer. The voice was calm, regal, and filled with pain that echoed through the speakers. I will not leave without him. Earth's defense network immediately went into panic mode. Satellites reported a massive alien vessel entering the solar system. A ship larger than anything Earth had ever seen. It moved with quiet confidence, ignoring warnings, ignoring weapon locks, ignoring everything except its target, Earth. Kai stood frozen in front of his television as the broadcast continued. When the screen shifted to show the speaker, his breath caught in his throat. It was Elindra. She stood inside her starship, wearing the royal armor of the Sari Dominion, silver, elegant, and glowing with soft blue light. Her long white hair flowed down her shoulders. Her violet eyes, normally gentle, now carried a storm inside them. A storm directed entirely at one person. Adam. Around Earth, millions of humans asked the same question. Who was she searching for? And why? Kai's knees weakened. He fell into his chair, unable to look away. He had hoped she would forget him, or at least stop caring. But she had crossed the galaxy, just to find him. She must have learned he never returned and assumed the worst. He whispered to himself, Elindra, why did you come here? But her next words answered that. Kai Mercer of Earth, you vanished without a word. You broke your promise. And because of your disappearance, my world suffered. I demand you face me. Her voice trembled only slightly at the end, revealing how deeply she was hurting beneath her royal posture. Within an hour, Earth governments were calling Kai non-stop. First politely, then urgently, then with pure fear in their voices. Kai, you need to come in. Do you understand the scale of this situation? Kai, the entire world is watching. That ship could wipe out cities. Kai, we need you to talk to her. Immediately. Kai didn't argue. He knew this would happen the moment he saw her face. Running wasn't an option anymore. Not from her. As he traveled to the International Meeting Center, journalists shouted questions at him. Why is she looking for you? Are you responsible for this? Is Earth in danger? Kai ignored them. He kept his eyes forward and walked with heavy steps, like a soldier heading toward a battlefield he once escaped. When he entered the secure building, diplomats were already waiting for him. Some stared at him with anger, others with desperation. Mostly, they wanted answers, answers he couldn't give. Not until he faced her. Within minutes, the Sari shuttle landed outside. Humans watched with mixture of awe and fear as alien guards stepped out, armored in crystal plates and carrying weapons. Earth scientists couldn't even identify. Then Elindra emerged. She wasn't just beautiful, she was commanding, intimidating, and heartbreakingly familiar. Her eyes scanned the area until they landed on Kai. Her entire body froze. For a moment, the world held its breath. She walked toward him slowly, each step echoing across the silent courtyard. She stopped only a few feet away, her face a mask of composed fury. "Kai Mercer," she said quietly. "So you are alive." Kai swallowed hard. Elindra. The sound of her name leaving his lips made her eyes tremble. She took a breath, trying to control the emotion rising inside her. "Why did you abandon me, human?" Her words were sharp, painful, but spoken with the kind of hurt only someone who once trusted deeply could carry. Kai opened his mouth, but no words came out. How could he explain classified orders that nearly killed him? How could he tell her he wanted to stay, wanted to return, but wasn't allowed? Around them, Earth soldiers and Sari guards stood still, unsure whether to protect or step back. Diplomats watched with growing dread. This was no small personal reunion, this was a moment that could decide peace or war. Kai finally spoke. "I didn't want to leave. I didn't choose to abandon." But before he could finish, alarms blared across Earth's defense network. Another fleet had entered the solar system. A fleet far larger and far darker than Elindra's. Human commanders panicked as screens filled with symbols Earth did not recognize. Elindra turned sharply toward the sky, her expression changing from anger to shock. "No. They followed me." Kai felt cold dread spread through his chest. "Who are they?" Elindra's hands curled into fists. "Enemies of my empire. They seek to overthrow my family. They must have tracked my ship when I left. If they destroy Earth, the galaxy will blame me." Humans scrambled as data poured in. The approaching fleet had weapons designed for siege warfare, planetary assault. Earth's defense grid wasn't ready for something like this. One diplomat whispered helplessly, "We're outnumbered." Elindra looked at Kai again. This time, there was no anger, just fear and regret. "I came here because I thought you abandoned me. But now my mistake has put your entire world in danger." She stepped toward him, close enough that he could see the fine lines of worry around her eyes. "Kai, I cannot face them alone. But if Earth fires first, they will see it as a declaration of war. Everything is falling apart." Kai took a deep breath. He was no longer the quiet man who lived alone in a small apartment. He felt the old strength inside him. The strength humanity had shown the galaxy during the war. He turned to the generals, to the diplomats, to Elindra herself, and spoke with a calm steadiness that surprised everyone. "Then we won't fire first." He faced the sky where the enemy fleet was approaching. "But make no mistake," he said, voice firm. "If they attack us, we will show them exactly why humanity survived the last war." Elindra stared at him, surprised, confused, and almost relieved. "Kai, you would fight with me?" He nodded. "I never abandoned you. Not really. And I'm not abandoning you now." The ground shook as the enemy ships entered orbit. Earth's systems went red. Humans rushed to defense stations. Sari guards activated their shields. And in the middle of it all, Kai stood beside Elindra, eyes sharp, ready for the battle. Neither of them expected, but both would face together. The sky darkened as the first enemy ship opened its weapon ports. Earth held its breath, and the fate of two civilizations hung in the silence before the storm. The sky above Earth darkened as hundreds of enemy ships formed a ring around the planet. Their engines glowed like burning suns, and their weapons hummed with energy ready to strike. People across Earth watched in terror from their homes, their streets, their rooftops. No one had ever seen such a fleet before. In the middle of the International Command Center, Kai Mercer stood calmly beside Princess Elindra Vael Sari. Despite the danger, He felt strangely centered. Maybe it was because he finally faced the truth he had run from for so long. Maybe it was because Elindra was standing beside him again. Or maybe it was because he knew humanity had survived worse odds before. Elindra touched the device on her wrist, projecting tactical data into the air. "Their numbers are larger than I expected," she said quietly. "If they came all this way, they must be desperate." Kai nodded. "And desperate enemies are the most dangerous." Earth generals and Sarai royal guards worked together in a hurried but determined rhythm. Both sides understood that if they didn't cooperate, Earth would fall within minutes. Humans began activating their defense grids, orbital cannons, drone swarms, and stealth fighters. Sari soldiers prepared their energy shields and communication nets. Elindra turned to Kai. "Before this begins, I want to know something." Her voice softened. "If we survive, will you disappear again?" Kai met her eyes, seeing the hurt still lingering beneath her strength. "No," he said. "Not this time." Before she could reply, a loud alarm filled the room. The enemy fleet had sent a final warning. A deep voice echoed through every speaker on Earth. "Sari, Princess Elindra, surrender now. You have nowhere to run. The world you hide on will fall with you." Elindra straightened her back, royal pride returning to her face. There was a short silence. Then the enemy responded coldly. "Then Earth will be the first to burn." The room erupted into motion. "Kai! The engines on their flagship are powering up. Enemy drones incoming. Shields at 40%. Human pilots launched into the sky, their fighter jets joining Sari interceptors. The two forces moved together, weaving through enemy fire. Kai stood at the center of the command room, watching every radar screen and every tactical update. This was where he belonged. Not hiding, not running, but helping. Elindra looked at him with surprise. "You're calm." Kai gave a small smile. "I've seen humanity fight before. We don't lose easily." Outside, the first wave of battle began. Human drones formed a wall of metal and determination, crashing into enemy ships. Sari interceptors sliced across the sky, firing energy beams that lit up the darkness. Earth's orbital cannons fired huge bursts of plasma, cracking enemy armor. The enemy fleet was strong, but Earth was not weak. Still, the enemy flagship remained untouched. It floated above Earth like a giant shadow, its weapon ports glowing brighter by the second. Kai stared at it. "That ship is the key. If they fire that weapon, everything ends." Elindra nodded. "I have seen their planet-breaker weapon before. It can destroy continents. If they aim at Earth..." She didn't finish the sentence. Kai turned to the generals. "Get me on a ship. I'm going up there." Everyone stared at him as if he'd lost his mind. The American general shook his head. Elindra stepped forward. "No. He's right. The only way to stop that weapon is from inside. Their shields are too strong from the outside." Kai looked at Elindra. "Then we go together." Quote, for the first time since she arrived on Earth, Elindra smiled. A small, soft, almost relieved smile. Together. Minutes later, Kai and Elindra rushed into a Sari boarding shuttle with a squad of guards. The small ship shot up through the clouds, dodging explosions and weaving between falling debris. Below them, Earth shone like a blue jewel. Above them, the enemy flagship waited like a hungry beast. As they approached, the enemy ship's guns targeted them. "Kai, hold on!" Elindra shouted. The shuttle spun hard, avoiding a beam that fired past them like a comet. Elindra's pilots pushed the engines to their limit. With a final burst of speed, the shuttle rammed into a small maintenance port on the enemy ship's side. Metal screeched. Lights flickered. The door slammed open. "Kai, move!" Elindra yelled. The team leaped out, weapons ready, though Kai only carried a simple Earth-standard shock baton. He didn't need anything else. He trusted his instincts and the people beside him. Inside the ship, the hallways glowed with red warning lights. Enemy soldiers rushed toward them, shouting, but Elindra's guards formed a protective circle around Kai. They fought with controlled precision, knocking enemies aside, stunning them, disarming them. Kai helped where he could, blocking attacks and pushing forward. The deeper they went into the ship, the hotter and louder everything became. The planet breaker weapon was charging. They could hear the pulsing hum of its core. Elindra pointed ahead. The weapon chamber is through that corridor. As they ran, a blast shook the entire hallway. Elindra stumbled, and Kai grabbed her arm, pulling her upright. "You okay?" She nodded. "I'm fine. Keep moving." When they reached the chamber, the door was guarded by heavily armored soldiers. Their armor reflected the blue glow of the weapon powering up. Their leader stepped forward. Voice sharp. "Princess Elindra, you should have stayed dead." Elindra stepped in front of Kai. "I will never fall to traitors." A fierce battle broke out in the narrow corridor. Energy beams flashed. Armor clashed. Kai fought beside Elindra, protecting her back just like he once did on her world years ago. Together, they moved like they had never been apart. At last, the guards fell. Kai and Elindra pushed through the door and entered the chamber. The weapon core hovered in the center, glowing brighter and brighter. Energy spirals twisted around it, forming a sun that would soon fire at Earth. Kai stared at it. "We don't have much time." Elindra pulled out a control blade, a Sci-Fi tool used to shut down energy systems. "Together again?" Kai smiled. They charged toward the core. Sparks flew. The ship shook. Alarms screamed. Elindra inserted the blade while Kai held off approaching guards. The blade connected. The core flickered, sputtered, then exploded in a shower of harmless light. The entire flagship lost power. Outside, Earth's forces cheered as the enemy ships broke formation, confused and leaderless. Human pilots and Sari interceptors pushed forward, forcing the enemy to retreat. One by one, the enemy vessels jumped into hyperspace and vanished. The battle was over. Inside the powerless flagship, Kai let out a long breath. Elindra leaned against a console, exhausted but smiling. "You did it," she said softly. "No," Kai replied. "We did it." When they returned to Earth, crowds filled the streets. People cheered for Elindra, for the Sari guards, and especially for Kai. For the first time in years, he didn't feel like a ghost. He felt alive. Needed. Home. Elindra stood beside him, watching the cheering humans with wonder. Kai looked at her. "So is yours." She turned to him fully. "Kai, will you return with me? Not as an officer, not as someone who owes a promise, but as someone I trust." Kai felt no hesitation this time. "Yes, I'm ready." Earth's leaders supported the decision. The galaxy had changed that day. Humanity had proven its courage again, and the bond between Earth and the Sari Dominion grew stronger than ever. As Elindra's ship prepared to leave, Kai stood by her side, looking at the planet he loved and the stars that waited beyond. He whispered, "I'm not running anymore." Elindra took his hand gently. "Then let's walk forward together." And as the ship rose into the sky, leaving Earth behind, Kai knew that this time, he wasn't abandoning anything. He was finally choosing the future he wanted.